everybody. Happy Father's Day if you are a father. Happy Father's Day for your fathers. Hopefully it's been a good day. Just gonna wait until a minute 30 so that YouTube will pick this screen as one of the thumbnails. Alright. So we have a couple of loose ends, and then I think we're gonna go head over to Heide's Tower of Flame and harass some people there. This is my Platinum character. It only took 98 hours, actually. I think Platinum in DS3 took me 115, 120. But this is our character for the run. That's my Champion's Covenant character. She looks haggard. Anyway, let's move on. So, watching the footage back while I was time-stamping, I remembered that there is something we should read that we picked up in Forest of Fallen Giants, which is the leather set of armor. We'll start with the other bits first, because the hat is very interesting. So, leather armor. It looks the best in Dark Souls 3, but there you go. This is armor made from soft leather, commonplace piece of equipment. Few embellishments, lightweight, easy to use. Pretty much the same for most everything else, but the hat is the interesting bit. Because it's always been the interesting bit. A leather hat with a large brim, traditionally used by bow hunters. The hunting goddess of Lana was no goddess at all, but rather a brave and highly skilled bow huntress. Long after her demise, the passing of lore transformed her into a deity. Now, this is hammered home a heck of a lot in DS3, that the passing of time, history becomes legend, legend becomes something else entirely. It's the whole conflict surrounding the Abyss Watchers, maybe the whole idea behind the Undead Legion. The legend of Artorias didn't start off as legend, it started off as reality, it started off as history. It started off as the truth, and then as time moves on, truth and history pass into legend, and I would hazard a bet that if the Abyss Watchers were in any shape to speak to you at all, that they would call Artorias a god unto himself. So Ferris, who is in Dark Souls 1, she was the original owner of the hat. The hat becomes Ferris's hat in Dark Souls 3, and it loses its association to Avlana by Dark Souls 3, but Ferris was a bow huntress who passed into legend, and that legend passed even more into mythology, and with her passing into mythology in this timeline, she became a deity. And she got her name changed. Maybe her full name was Avlana Ferris, who knows. But, Ferris is more than just legend at this point. You know, I never even noticed that there's a hawk on the shoulder of the Explorer's chest piece. Guess that's the closest I'll get to having a pet in these games. Well, let's see here. Anything else I should pick up and read? I guess I This is our... Yeah. This is our robe that we already switched off of. Drangleic mages wore different garb depending on their sex. What function this served, however, is unknown, as with many old practices. This is a woman's robe. Let me see if we skim real quick to see if there's anything else. Rings that we didn't read. Ring of the Way of Blue Covenant increases HP slightly. The Way of Blue is not developed a religion. It is a humble prayer that spread naturally amongst those seeking help. When apostles of blue are invaded by dark spirits, they can receive assistance from masters of other worlds. We picked up the Ring of Restoration. A protective ring passed down in Hostasteria gradually restores HP. In the sacred land of Lindelt, this ring symbolized prosperity and longevity for the great house Osteria, which might be a reference to demon souls with Ostrava, which was a fake name. But yeah. But the ring is fragile and breaks easily, just like Ostrava, who was actually pretty fragile and broke easily, as if it hates being taken for granted. Wonder if that's actually just a reference to Ostrava. Ring of Blades. The Ring of Blades is modeled after the Mad Knight of Alkin's weapon of choice, increases physical attack. The kingdoms of Alkin and Ven long ago flourished on these very grounds. They are both founded by the same man, but were reduced to rivalry in spite. Hey Toby, how's it going? We're just reading a couple things that I missed last time before we move on. I gotta fix some things before we do. Adjust the... If anybody wants to join, we're under Kreml. Let me know so I can pop a human effigy. Okay, so back to the Forest of Fallen Giants. And then Cardinal Tower. And I did catch while I was reading things, but like watching the last stream back, that I kind of misplaced where everything kind of was a little bit. So there's a lot of crows right over Cardinal Tower. So right above us is like this whole murder or parliament of crows, which is both neat and disconcerting. So let's go pick up a map maker. DS2 is actually a lot better than people give it credit for. IMO. But let's go pick up a map maker, because I was remiss to do that last time. Lock on, really? You're gonna switch targets as soon as I finish casting? Stop poking me. Alright, you're done. We are playing a sorcerer build. It's just one of those things people like don't really do. Ah. Jerk. Parliament of Crows. I'm not sure if I got that wrong. It could be a murder of crows. I think it's a murder of crows, which is the Ferrili's term. Ah, yeah. Okay, thank you. Alright, it's down. Down, and then this way. Yeah, Parliament of Owls. Is there human effigy? There's nothing behind me. It's just a hole. And then, because FromSoft likes directing people's attention with light sources, you can tell that this guy is important. But if you're like rushing through and you don't know that light sources are equals important for FromSoft, then like, yeah. Let me get rid of this guy. So let's talk to him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming. My name is Cale. I'm a traveler like yourself. I'm navigating the continent to create a map. Why cartography, you ask? Well, that's a good question. When I first came to this forsaken land, it was curse? Something about a curse. Embarrassing. I seem to have lost my focus. But I do know one thing for certain. I've always been very fond of maps.
Passions and obsessions are really kind of important because they keep people kind of grounded in these worlds.
I came to this land some time ago.
And yeah, Toby, I think it's because of it's a different engine. For Bloodborne, FromSoft worked with Japan Studio, which is Sony Entertainment's second party, and the guy who created the PS4 architecture still works for Japan Studio. So I assume that they worked together to create the new engine that they use for both Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. And I think both studios came away from it learning a heck of a lot, because the Shadow of the Colossus remake kind of looks like the Dark Souls 3 engine. I'm not sure if it's the same one, but it looks like it. But until then, they had to like make do, and they created this engine, which I think has a lot of failings, and like forced world design to be in a certain way to like mask some of its weaknesses. And Cale is he's not very, he's in a bad way. The only thing that's really keeping him is making maps and digging a hole.
Wonderful. Then you were fascinated by maps, just like me. Shame on you. You should have told me before. Here, take this. A key to the mansion. What a joy to meet a kindred spirit out here. Incredible, really, isn't it? Such a map to be chiseled in stone. Oh, but one thing. I
I don't know. Lock-on pisses me off in this game. It doesn't stay where I need it to be. It's too hyperactive. I think that's more important to me than like the camera in a lot of respects, but Nameless King's camera is pretty bad. I agree. Alright, he is all finished. I like Cale. He's a good guy. That's nothing but death. Doesn't really deserve Navlan having a hate boner for him, but... Alright, it's up this way and across. Stagger. Yeah, it's me again. So Melentia, as soon as you buy enough from her, she moves to Majula. There she is. She's gonna move to Majula now. Kind of my opinion that she's kind of a pilgrim of the dark or something, because there's a few NPCs that if you kill them, their stuff ends up with Melentia somehow, and the starter set for the Explorer ends up with her. So the Explorer set has a bird on my shoulder, so it's awesome. I don't think there's any more loose ends. Let's do a quick thing at the Lost Bastille. Burb. There's a burb. And the Dull Ember will go to somebody very soon. So this is the Lost Bastille. This is actually kind of the back entrance into the Lost Bastille. The front entrance is elsewhere. Couple of different things. There's a Pursuer mini-boss fight around the corner. If you can see that. Phantom. But we're gonna do something else real quick. No! Dang it. I thought he was going to do a melee attack. Anyway, there's, we're going to go over to that tower. Pursuer's a little bit annoying in, the Lost Bastille, actually. Well, and meet Lucatiel.
What is it? I don't know you, and you don't know me. Things are better for me.
So she's quite a bit standoffish when you first meet her. And you keep saying, well, that's not entirely true.
Normally, people keep a safe distance when they see this mask. But you... I'm called Lucatiel. From the land of Mirror to the far east, across the mountains. They say Dragon Lake brims with powerful souls. And so I came to claim my share. It was a strange place.
So she comes to Dragon Lake for reasons that are very similar to Demon Souls reasons. You don't so much come... It's really hard to say why you came to Dragon Lake. In the opening cinematic, you're just kind of wandering through a forest, and the old ladies are taunting you and being patronizing, pretty much, and you're like, I need whatever. But she comes for power. It's a very Demon Souls type of thing. She's like, I came to get my fair share. The end. In Demon Souls, everyone, including your character, goes to Boletaria and the associated lands because there's a lot of Demon Souls, and Demon Souls have a power beyond human imagination, quote unquote. And you're like, I want power. So she comes for a very similar reason to that. And you're here because a force dragged you here, because you had an overwhelming desire to retain a sense of self. So you guys come for different reasons, but the end game is a bit the same. The eyes on the gentleman's mask is full of lines. It's actually pretty interesting. It's got like a star. It's got lines, and it looks exactly the same in Dark Souls 3, a bit more higher res. It doesn't try to look like actual eyes at all, just weird. And that jaunty bird feather up top, it's pretty good. So let's keep talking to her.
I've always made a point of avoiding people. You've made a point of engaging me. I can see that you are on a journey. If you require assistance, I will help you.
See, persistence works all.
I come from Mirror, a land of knights. My sword is always ready. Don't hesitate to call upon me. Whatever happens, I will be used.
In Dark Souls 2, as much as it is in Dark Souls, Demon Souls, it always felt like to me that the trek to Boletaria or the trek to Dragon Lake, like the one she took, seems to be one of those one-way trips. And I'm not sure if they're consciously aware it's a one-way trip, but it's a one-way trip. Alright, so she's finished here. We'll pick this up. That's an antiquated key. I always forgot. Did I even use the antiquated key? Like, ever? But we'll read that. Wire key is so far down. Soldier's key, antiquated key. This key is very old, but in very good condition, such that it should still function. Only, what lock does this key fit? So that's all I really want to do here at the Lost Bastille. I need a homeward bone, though. We'll be back here. And we'll harass the pursuer like 4 times. What I really want to do today is pick up Carhillion. My first criticism is a lot of one-way trips in Dark Souls 2. More than probably should be necessary. IMO. So we have to go back to Majula. And yeah, Samuel, Pursuer's not really good at his job, because as soon as you get out of his aggro range, he pieces out. He's not very good at pursuing. But the Pursuer kind of does the same thing that the Harald Knights do in Dark Souls 3. So Melentia has put herself down right here. She's very conveniently placed. She also now has unlimited life gems, whereas Forest of Fallen Giants, she has a total stack of 10. Right. So we're going this way. So now we're gonna head back underground because the engine needs to unload Majula. And everywhere else. Pretty much as soon as you come down the stairs, it'll start unloading, like, things betwixt and all that. Oh, right. That's right. I know I did that on my Champion's Covenant character, but I totally just forgot to do that here. So, the house key. Key to the abandoned house in Majula, received from Cale the cartographer. In the past, Majula served as a dumping ground for horrible things, but is now a gathering place for those with no better place to go. Basically, Majula is the rubbish heap of Dark Souls 2. It seems this house in Majula was the final home for a few such souls. Kind of the rubbish heap, although everybody kind of threw stuff down there and hoped for the best. Ready for unnecessarily large book? Unnecessarily large book right here. There's some theories that this is like Seath's book and stuff like that. I don't know. Wait, don't I have a... yeah, I have Nox. Too low. DS1 isn't too expensive. I mean, DS2 I got for like 20 bucks or less than 20 bucks, and DS1 and Death I got for about the same price used. If you're looking for collector's editions of DS, like Demon Souls, you're going to be paying some bank. But if you just want the game, then it's going to be like $20 American. So if you go up to the second floor, you're going to find a couple of things, some Titanite shards, which is going to be very good for updating your weapons, especially if you're a melee character. You're going to have this awesome view of Majula. Not a whole lot else. But you can get it delivered via drone, probably. Or you can pick it up at a Whole Foods. Topical humor right here. I am your one-stop shop for that. And then you come down here. and you see a big map right here. So this is the base game for Dark Souls 2. You'll basically see eventually that everything's kind of spokes on a wheel with terminal points. Each of these little flames are major bosses. This is the pursue. I want to say this is the last giant, but I feel like this is the pursuer's fire. So major bosses will have little fires that pop up as you kill them. New game +7, the fires turn blue. I think the Lord Soul bosses, at least, I forget. I usually get bored and start a new build before I even get close to New Game +7. Visions of Oversight. Praise the Sun? So yeah, this is either Lost Giant or Pursuer. Cale will be here staring at this map. And down here, is your real reward for making a friend in Cale. I should go light a torch or something. I will be right back. I'm going to do just that so you can see. Light a torch, light a torch. Especially when you don't have flame butterflies yet. It's gonna be lit. Father's Day brings out all of the dad jokes. I love it. So down here, it seems to be a little piece of ye old Firelink, and this seems to look like a shattered bit of the Lord Soul. I think conventional wisdom, like this message intimates, says this is like the shattered remains of the Lord Soul, or the Lord Vessel. Why? Too many words that look the same or feel the same. Anyway, Lord Vessel. Conventional wisdom says this is like Lord Vessel. It's probably true. But that's your real reward for making a friend in Cale. And you have this. A Soul Vessel. Soul Vessels allow you to reallocate your stat points back at the three fates or furies. And now Cale is here. Hi, Cale.
Oh, hello, lady. You've made it. Done that, I presume. Of course. Take a good look. Even more flames have appeared. But that doesn't cause it.
He has no idea, but you end up learning. Destroy ahead. Visions of Oversight. Liar. You can start to tell where the load seams end up being. I'm gonna see if I can't level up my catalyst. For him, he's got a bunch of things. Really useful weapons, actually, in the early game. Broadswords, longswords, broadswords, falchions, estocs, rapiers. A good assortment. So, yeah. And he's also got some of these, but I need to see if I have to reinforce my catalyst first. Yeah, my other character just switched to a rapier. It's gonna be a rapier estoc power stance build as soon as I can, but alright, so spell stuff has gone up. So let's talk to him. He's mentioning the ember we picked up at the Lost Bastille. Is rapier better than the estoc? I know the thrust damage is ridiculous in this game. So here we learn that he's got a daughter. But he's hollow and he knows it. So here's your reinforcement and infusion like tutorials. Andre does the same thing, but he shows his pride over his daughter that she travels and knows all about ore stones. All right. Let's finally start making our way over to Heide's. So this is a weird thing. It's a contraption, as you find out. And it spins around. We will find out more about said contraption in a bit. But first we have to go through a loading room, which is all of this that we're going to go through. It's got to unload like things betwixt Majula and a couple other places all at once. So this is an aqueduct, an actual aqueduct. There's lots of water, so you know that the next place is going to have lots of water. And water is pretty prevalent in Dark Souls 2. You see a very similar shoreline in Dark Souls 3, but you don't go anywhere near like that water at all. And we find a broken thief sword, and the soul of lost undead, which is probably the same guy. So a thief curled up and died right here. Broken sword tells us the dagger. It has the moveset for a dagger. A favorite amongst thieves. And I can use it? Because it might actually be better than what I've got. No. No, I cannot. Because I am a weak, frail thing. So Heide's Tower of Flame. What a great, like, entry point. Because you will see that Tower of Flame. That's a cathedral, and it is indeed in the same style as Anor Londo, but the rest of it is very similar to, I forget the exact name for it, but it's in Greece, and it's known for its blue domes, and it's also by the sea, by the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah, it definitely looks like the Great Citadel. Some differences with enemy placements here in regards to vanilla. These Heide Knights, they will not aggro until you beat the main boss of the area. They will get up automatically as soon as you beat the main boss of the area. In vanilla, that dragon is not there. It's a guardian dragon. It's tough getting to him. Like, it's super hard getting to that guy, and then it's even harder to actually do damage to him. But since I'm a ranged character, I might be able to do it. Once you beat the Guardian Dragon, you can lower that bridge, and there's another boss fight right in there. It is completely optional, but it is also pretty fun. And there's the actual boss fight. You can see it from the entry. You can even see the boss from here. Out in the distance is, I believe, the Lost Bastille. Behind this dome right in front of us. So that's the lay of the land, and that's where this is all stuff we're looping right back around to. Well, let's go to the first bonfire. I'm just gonna reset the character. Let's see how he does with magic. Yeah, it's not bad. Everybody's dead. Alright, I need to get faster casting time. Yeah, it's very, very reminiscent of that Greece area. No! Lock on, please. So these guys will start dropping blue eye orbs, which is your big clue that the sentinels have their place here. This guy is a coward. He acts very differently from the rest of them. Alright. And there's a reason why his AI is completely different from everybody else, and that is because he's guarding that thing. Now, if you look closely to over yonder, you will see what this actually does. So there's 3 different floors, and you already have one, and it's very small. And then you can lift up that middle platform with this one, which is really all I mess with in regards to that boss. You can bait that boss to throw himself off of the ledges. I usually don't. I'm really bad at baiting things to do it. Baiting at all anyway. So I usually just dodge him and kill him. It's not the biggest deal. He's not a hard boss. You can see somebody else in the background though from here. You can see her. That is a person right in the window, and we will meet her very, very soon. I'm gonna eat an amber herb. I kind of call this a mid-boss encounter. So you have 3 of these guys hanging out, and then there's 2 paths in a wood, I guess. To the left is towards the cathedral, to the right is towards the boss. The right is the critical path. And actually it's the easiest one to get through. You can juke your way through these guys. The middle guy holds the switch for the boss. I might drag him down here so I can juke past him. Obviously, maces are very good against these guys. The Heide's guys are a bit different here in that they are already aggroed if you try and come up this way. It's a lot harder in SotFS. Ah, come on. Alright. And why? Because this jerk. I could never get past him. So this is a bit of a party over here. Whoops. No! Dang it! I was trying to get them to kill each other. And just wait. I don't remember if you can spell... Ah, dang it. That was a bad idea. Yeah. But essentially, the Blue Sentinels in this game are a PvP covenant. Probably me being in human form, because I am not right now. I will check for summons in a bit, because I do have to pop an effigy. Ah? Ow. Ow. He must have just been within reach. Let's see here. Hair! Um... Yeah, I think if anything, then it is probably after you hit all of the switches. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to throw in my Estus Flask Shard at the Emerald Herald. Oh well, I'll deal with it. Well, hey, a Pillstone. Hey, Stone. What's going on? Yeah, I hate the club guys. I'm just trying to make it over to the optional boss. Otherwise I'll just run over to the Dragon Slayer and come back later. Actually, doing the critical path is very, very much more, it's just easier. Does anyone want to come, or people who've come in? If you want to come, let me know. Yeah, there's a lot more enemies on the way to Old Dragon Slayer. They really want you to earn that optional boss. Or slowly depopulate. But yeah, that's the big change in this section in Scholar. That whole section is way harder than it is in Vanilla. Vanilla doesn't have the dragon. So I'm gonna head over to the actual boss of the area. People who've played Armored Core will know this a lot more, but FromSoft does like... I run out of time. FromSoft does like revising its games every once in a while, and they do it more with Armored Core than they do in Dark Souls, obviously, since Dark Souls 2 is the only one that got this treatment. But like, they do revisions for their games in Armored Core, such as Armored Core 5 became Armored Core Verdict Day, Armored Core 4 became For Honor. But what the general gist is, there are new enemy placements, there are a new faction who invades you from time to time called the Forlorn. New Game Plus has new cycles. Some places have been made easier, some places have been made very much harder. And item placements are different too. Such as that Heide Knight that was sitting in front of a treasure box that I passed by. That is the Ring of Binding in this game, which you can get after you beat this guy, because everybody on the critical path will get up after you beat this guy. Ah, it was early. Oof, that hurt. Oof. So, that's a thing. It's very... it fits with the aesthetic, because it's a very Greek area. On YouTube, I'll look it up and put a picture. You can see everybody just walk back where they are. All the Heide Knights are now... all the Heide Knights in the area, except not just the path that leads to the dragon, are now up, and they are very, very not happy about you killing the Dragonrider. Trying to gauge whether this is needed right now or not. Light this bonfire. And we'll say hello to this individual. No, I don't believe so. You can farm them a lot easier. And there's more elsewhere. They like sprinkle a little bit more Heide Knights in different places. So this is Licia of Lindelt. She's a liar, and she pretends to be a cleric. Q, every time patches, has a screed against clerics, and Licia would probably be the center of it. As you can see, she sells bunch of cleric stuff. Cleric Secret Chime, which we already have one. she sells a ring of prayer, although it's not sincere prayer. A ring blessed by the High Priest of Volgen increases faith. This might be the first mention of Volgen this playthrough. The clerics of the great city of Volgen are perennially entrenched in scandalous power struggles, but among them remain a few strong-willed, upstanding noblemen. So very, very much Game of Thronesy. When you have power and prestige, the game suggests people want more of it. Again, with the themes of greed, with Dark Souls in general. Volgen is a place filled with greed. Even though there are a couple, and not a whole lot, of people who are sincerely praying for actual miracles. The rest are just there to manipulate it for their own ends. Very similar to some of the stuff that happens in DS3, and why Patches never liked clerics to begin with, considering Patches scolds us for our own greed time and time again. She also sells a whole slate of miracles, including guidance, which becomes Seek Guidance in DS3. Pretty much does the same thing. Countless worlds loosely overlap, and at the seams of contact kindred souls who have lost their way call out to one another with fleeting messages of hope. Homeward, the curse slowly erodes one's memory until even one's birthplace is reduced to a figment of a clouded past. But the bonfires are constant, a beacon for the tragically afflicted. Lightning Spear, a miracle that launches a spear of lightning said to be the legacy of an ancient clan whose leader was revered as the god of sun. Gwyn. The name of the clan has been lost to time, but the gross incandescence of our magnificent father shall never wane. Thank you, Solaire, for writing the description for this lightning spear. That's almost quote for quote from DS1, what Solaire says. I wish I could pretend to be Solaire for that line, but I can't imitate him. Force. Elementary Miracle. Pushes a nearby foe's back, but leaves them unhurt. Does not directly cause damage, but can be highly effective with a little ingenuity, also known as Cliffs. Caressing Prayer, which becomes Kaitha's Caressing Tears in DS3. This suggests, Nameless King was the god of war and lightning. Gwyn was the god of sun. But it does reduce pretty much everybody in DS1's god pantheon to a clan. No. Well, Solaire worshipped Gwyn. And the whole last line is basically Solaire's voice. And the Nameless King was erased from the annals for being a dumbass. This becomes Kaitha's Caressing Prayer. Purifies body, removing all poison, basically does the same thing. Affects both the caster and nearby allies. The spell was recently developed and may not be an authentic miracle. The fact that this becomes Kaitha's Caressing Tears might tell you something. That it gets thrown to Kaitha, but like Kaitha, she might not actually be for real. The whole lightning thing is actually Toby for in real life mythology, in real life religious thinking, the god of the sun has always kind of been conflated with lightning, partially because lightning was thought to be fire and not lightning as we know it, as electricity flowing through the air. People thought it was fire sparking across the sky. So, like, Zeus is pretty much the god of the sun, but he's also god of lightning. Mithras is the god of the sun, also god of lightning. There's the Vedic god of the sun, whose name slips my thoughts, but he's also the god of lightning. In Vedic, it becomes Buddhism. Vedic thinking is the parent philosophy of Buddhism. I mean to say, there's a lot of real-life philosophical thought, a lot of real-life religion that conflates the god of the sun to lightning. It's not a Dark Souls thing. Yeah, like the meme, and I mean meme in the actual sense and not meme in the internet sense. The meme of like a god of a sun spans pretty far in the ancient world. It's pretty much everywhere in the ancient world. So you've got like Mithras, who also killed a bull, by the way. Vedic religions, which is the parent company to Buddhism and Hinduism in some ways, which also have gods of the sun, who were also gods of lightning and stuff like that. And, you know, there's Zeus, who's well known. There's a bunch others. Like the meme of a sun god is far and wide. And I don't think Solaire even knew about the Nameless King. Yeah, and definitely Ra. Ra got thrown in everywhere, and I'm a huge ancient Egyptian, like, nerd. Ra is the god of the sun, and the god of the sun is also Osiris Ra during the night. They got merged in the evening. Ra will go across the sky, and then he goes into the underworld, which starts the nighttime, and he goes across the underworld. And then Khepri, which is a minor god, which is symbolized by the scarab beetle, will push Ra back into the sky, which starts the daytime. Also, a fire god who is conflated with the sun and lightning. Yeah, not just the Dark Souls thing. Gwyn is pulled from like a bunch of different places in ancient philosophies and stuff like that, so there's all that. But the fact that Caressing Prayer becomes Keitha's Caressing Tears in DS3 is also super interesting to me. Set is a god of Typhon Set. Typhon Set is a god associated with the underworld, but not really. He's more associated with chaos. He's kind of an eviler Loki, if you know your Northern European stuff. Yeah. Typhon Set is also related to world serpents, like Frampton Koth. Let me just move on to the next one and go Cleric for Saul of Lindelt. Yeah, and Ouroboros. Ouroboros, the Ragnarok. I just completely forgot the name of the serpent in it that starts Ragnarok. But yeah, serpents are pretty much everywhere. Typhon Set hung out with one in particular. But Osiris Ra was the main god of the underworld. And he was tended to by Anubis, and the ibis feather was measured against your heart, which is where the term like a light heart comes from, because light hearts had no sin weighing them down. Okay, so Resplendent Life. Cleric for Saul of Lindelt was a master of miracles who fought battles across the lands. His allies called him a holy knight, but his enemies feared him for his demonic powers. So that also puts into weird perspective what resplendent life is, or that a miracle to one people is witchcraft to someone else, or maybe miracles and demonic powers are kind of one and the same in a la Demon Souls. Yeah, I own Assassin's Creed Unity because it came with my PS4, because I got my PS4 with like 3 games for free a couple of years ago when Target was running a ridiculous bundle. So like I bought a bundled PS4 with Batman Arkham Knight with 2 other games. I traded one of those games for something else. And I kept Assassin's Creed Unity, but I never played it. But the AC game in Egypt might actually get me playing the AC game. And I like that they spun off the best part of Black Flag into its own game. So yeah. Replenishment, an intermediate miracle, gradually restores HP. This miracle is used by the resolute Lindelt Cleric Knights when fighting on the front lines. There is a story, passed down through generations, claiming this band of knights once felled a poisonous dragon which menaced an entire nation. We meet that dragon later. His name is Sin. We'll get there. He broke my claymore in my first game. Great Heal excerpt. A highly advanced miracle. An excerpt from the Great Heal Tome. Greatly restores HP. Its effect is the same as Great Heal, but has limited use. The erudite Great Heal Tome requires extensive training to properly interpret, making it accessible to only a select few. Again, when you cast a miracle, you're not like doing mantras or like yantras or anything like that. You are recounting a story, and through that recounting of a story, the miracle effect happens. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely, Toby. Definitely. Miracles are tales of the gods passed down long ago, but only a small number of the original tomes remain in their entirety, and most that exists are restorations, which again, as time moves on, the truth kind of gets muddied, even though you have as much, even though your heart's in the right place and you want to keep it where it is. Tomes, history dies out, history becomes legend, history just kind of blurs after a while as soon as memory, because memory is a funny thing. There's a movie that has nothing to do with Dark Souls, but has everything to do with how people perceive memory, and it is called La Jetée, which was remade as 12 Monkeys, but 12 Monkeys kind of misses this point. La Jetée is filmed in like still images because it is a guy kind of recounting in his memory what happened to that last point where he gets shot on the pier. And the only time where it becomes an actual moving film is when he's watching his lover sleep. It's a 24-minute film. You could probably find it somewhere. And, like, his memory is just kind of fragmented and it's fading and all of that, even though he wants to keep it. But there's that one memory of his sleeping lover where he just, it's crystal clear. But after a while, even that memory is going to fade away. And that's kind of very similar to what I'm thinking of here. Yeah, 12 Monkeys was rad, but it kind of misses the point of the original French film, La Jetée. La Jetée is less concerned with like sci-fi and more concerned with a guy's memory. And like that, seeing how people perceive memory and how memory fades even though you try so very hard to keep it. Like, think about it. When we were kids, summer seemed to last forever. And now that we have perspective, summer only lasts 3 months. Yeah. I like the TV show, 12 Monkeys. The TV show is pretty neat. But it is more the 12 Monkeys movie than like the original. So, yeah. Like, the biggest interesting thing for me, in retrospect, is Caressing Prayer and Resplendent. Yeah, Replenishment. And, is it Replenishment, or was it... Yeah, Resplendent Life. It's Resplendent Life. So this one and this one are probably the most interesting to me, having played Dark Souls 3. Sorry that took so long, but I just wanted to get through all of those. Shut up. I am not a soul scrimper. So what she wants, because she's greedy, and she stole... we'll find out later, but she stole a couple of things. She dressed up in this garb, and she went stealing or preying upon the kindness of strangers to give her souls to keep going. But yeah. I'm going to do a couple things and come right back, because I'm going to kill her. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, so 3 there. That should put me at mid-roll. Yeah. She has like 6,000 HP. She's ridiculous a little bit. Trying to find my kick. Alright, I guess that's fine. You just deal with her like you deal with Lothrak, and it's largely okay. It'll probably take me a couple of tries, though. She has a tendency of falling into, some things. Her really dangerous thing. See ya. That's how you deal with her. The end. If you leave her alive, she will invade you under the name Unnamed Usurper. Yeah. Not really worth keeping around. So I just killed her. Yeah. What did she drop? She drops the... Yeah. So she drops a key, which is necessary to progress. If you do not kill her, she charges you like 2,000 to use the key, and she pretends that it's a miracle. So she'll stand at this doorway that uses this key, and she'll charge you 2,000, and then she'll like make a big show about praying, and she puts it on. But there's nothing magical about it, but a fine feat of engineering. Her most dangerous thing when she actually fights, or you allow her to fight, is she has Wrath of the Gods, which is annoying. But she's gone, and her stuff is now with Licia. Again, I think Licia is kind of like an agent of the Abyss or something, in that the explorer starting class dies somewhere where she was able to pick up their equipment, and Licia, she dies and is sucked into the Abyss, and now her stuff is here. And pick up the hood. Hood worn by miracle casting clerics. Grants slight increase to spell uses. Belong to Licia of Lindelt. And here's something I really wish was in Dark Souls 3, that there was armor with auxiliary effects like this. Lindelt is founded upon stringent commandments. Its inhabitants often travel to distant lands for aesthetic training, but more than a few of these trainees liberate themselves from Lindelt's teachings in the process. Increases number of casts for each spell. The dress worn by miracle casting clerics. While it's true Licia dedicated herself to miracles, it's rare for anyone to pass through life without trouble. Even clerics aren't always who they seem. And then that's that. So, like, these guys fell into the Abyss, and Licia was able to pull them out, a la our Shrine Maiden in Dark Souls 3, probably. Hi, Alchemist, how's it going? Welcome. We're making slow progress, but there's a lot to chat about, I guess. 16 faith, really? So I guess it won't increase my spell uses unless I have 16 faith. But now that we have it and we're nearby, let's go deal with the Rotunda. Mirai Alchemist. Future Alchemist? Mirai? We're just taking it really slow. We're talking about the lore that we come across. And we talk about what that means. Nice. And we analyze as we're playing through it. I should put my dagger back on. Oh wait, I did. So we're playing through things, but we're also analyzing what we're doing. So it's a little slow. We'll come back to that guy, because he's pretty interesting. And we're explaining and we're analyzing. So this is Huntsman Copse. It's pretty cloudy. Skybox is what it is, but let's see what we can see right here. Nox. So that might be the Forest of Fallen Giants. I'm not positive. This looming structure is the Colosseum with the... where it might be, yeah. Let's see if I can't find it. So the skybox implies that you make it here at night, and when you're finished with this area, it turns to day again when you enter the poison swamp. So it tries to show a procession of time. But that's your main goal right over here when you're here. But first, we have a guy to talk to. Yeah. So he won't actually talk to you until you have like 20s in your statuses. So like intelligence and faith both have to be 20 for him to talk to you. But he will be your dark magic vendor once you do. And you only have to hit the stats once. You can use the soul vessel and get the stats you need. Thanks, Mirai Alchemist, for the follow. So you can get the stats once and talk to him, and then you can revert your stats back, and he'll still talk to you. And so he's staring at a wall. His armor is pretty good when you're a spellcaster, so I'm going to aim for that eventually. So now that we have the Undead Refuge open, we're going to go back to Tower Flame. I think Dark Souls doesn't have a day-night cycle for a very particular reason. And that is, you're undead, and you're technically immortal. And when you're immortal, time doesn't look like it moves to you. So time doesn't move in Dark Souls because like your character wouldn't really perceive time in the way that we do. And so like it doesn't look like it moves at all. Or it all looks the same. Hashtag basically immortal things. There's a Monestary charm. And Monestary charms do... It cures poison, and it restores HP. It's a blessed charm. Many such charms were blessed in reconstructed ancient ceremonies carried out in the Monastery of Lindelt, now known as the new home of miracles. Though it may lack the power of an original, in circumstances dire enough, an imitation can be quite enough. Alright. Dark Trotches. An Old Knight Halberd. Dark Trotches are... verbal histories often mention Saint Elizabeth. Her uniquely concocted medicines and potions are still widely used today, and dark trotches are the same as the dark bug pellets in Dark Souls 3. Yeah, being immortal will basically make you crazy. But I think that's why Dark Souls doesn't really have a day-night cycle. Because what's the procession of time for you when it all looks the same, I guess? Just check back here. That's the elevator. I need to go this way. So this guy is guarding something super important. Which is why I'm just gonna do that. Dagger's critical damage, though. I'm saying. That's Syan's armor. We're pretty lucky. We can just take a look at that real quick. Replica of the armor of the old loyal knight Syan. This solidly crafted gear offers high defense. Sir Syan was widely known as the kingdom's most lethal knight, and when the giants invaded, he volunteered to lead the advance party, but was slaughtered most dishonorably. The king commissioned replicas of Syan's accoutrements and bestowed them to promising knights, but not long after they donned the armor did they go thoroughly mad. And sometimes a replica is just enough, as we learned from the Monestary turn. A Sublime Bone Nust is pretty important. It makes you heal a little bit better when you use an Estus Flask, so always worth getting that. And the Syan Knights are always going to guard something as important as that, which I believe is new for Scholar. I don't think that happens for Vanilla. Hey, Loki. My dog's name is Loki. He's adorable. He's got his own command. So now that we've gone further downward, there's more water, because we did see where water was kind of coming from. There's a basilisk right over there. Yeah. But I don't have a fragrant branch of York to even really make that worth it. And conveniently, this building has a hole in it. I wonder where this hole goes. So we have made it to the unseen path to Heide. Time to pretend to be Drang Lake's version of the electric company. Doggos. Vendrick and Sons Electric Company. Alright, that's enough there. I can turn it off the torch. Alright, let me see if I have a... Yeah. They jump at you and they teleport in front of you like they do in Dark Souls 3. Because they love you. It makes sense. Seems legit. More Titanite shards? Well, bye then. So one of our goals is over there, but you basically have to go all the way around, ring that bell, and come on down. Now, bringing the torch all the way this way is pretty useful because there is a weird enemy towards the end of this section that is very afraid of fire. Even though you're kind of expanding the aggro range of everybody. Yeah. Yeah, they bleed real hard. Doggo. We're gonna meet a friend right here.
I thought that might be you. You haven't changed a bit, have you? The longer I am here, the more madness I discover. A wretched place indeed, but not without traces of its former glory. What could have caused such degradation?
That line about majesty despite the decay is sort of Miyazaki's vision for how he wants the art design to be like in Dark Souls. He very much likes to see beauty in decay, so like, makes sense.
Ah, yes. I have not thanked you for humoring me the other day. This is for you. Of course, I have no idea what it is.
Yeah. Again, she wasn't brought here like we were brought here. She was brought here due to basically her own greed and her own desire to save her brother. Because she did hear that Drang Lake was brimming with souls and she wanted her share, but she's also here to save her brother.
Our land of Mirror is surrounded by enemies and constantly war. There is only one way up now. Join the Order and prove yourself in battle. My family have little fortune and no name. I have to carve out a piece of the world for myself. With two things. My sword and my loyalty to my lord. I was raised to wield a sword from birth.
Hey, some people never read. Never read.
It was hard, but I never gave it a second thought. I had swift success on the battlefield, and quickly attained respectable stature. And then I came here. Have you heard of the undead? These poor souls affected by the curse. An undead gradually...
Have you looked at me? Have you looked at me lately?
Finally, he turns hollow and preys upon others. And the hollow can never be human again. One can skirt this wicked fate only with the help of the souls found here. Assuming, of course, that the legends are true. I can only hope.
Dun dun dun. And she's halfway hollowed up top. Whereas, you know, we're here, but we can use a human effigy. But she doesn't know what a human effigy is. So it's hollowing her out really quickly because we can stop it because we know how to use a human effigy.
I'm sorry to burden you with talk of my fate. I suppose I've grown weary these days. I'm sorry.
And that's that. There's a couple of illusory walls up here that I don't exactly remember where. But there's more human effigies right there. Well, I guess that works too. He did. What a good doggo. This way do I want to go? Bring my torch upwards. Dark Dwellers incoming. Alright, I gotta change something around. See, he's just like, what's going on? Run away! Dropping me a broadsword? Sure. Before I move any further, I need to get in position. There's Emit force. See that bell? The idea is to shoot it. There. That allows you to pretty much be able to cut across and like not deal with the rest of the level if you so chose. Gavlan!
Who are you? I, Gavlan. Gavlan will, Gavlan deal.
Best merchant in the game.
Gavlan wants soul. Many, many souls.
Unfortunately, this is an NPC that suffered from the sequelitis that they had when making Dark Souls 2. His story pretty much gets wrecked. It's very, 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 very small. This guy is named Lonesome Gavlan. He is a member of a race that is only in Dark Souls 2. He's basically a dwarf. And the Gurm are a warlike group, but all this guy seems to do is drink. And all he does is wheel and deal. And all he needs, all he wants, is a soul. The rest of his entire race have probably hollowed out. But he's like the last one, and he's just keeping himself up. He's the best source of poison arrows, which are ridiculously good in this game. And the Ring of Giants, which increases poise. Shieldless Lothian, formerly of Ferosa, who I suspect has something with the founding of Lothric, but that's the pet theory of mine. Lothian was born a peasant and died a general. His determination and diligence were unmatched, especially on the battlefield, where he earned his name by choosing to fight without a shield, like anyone good at the game does. Yeah. And Gavlan pretty much is your merchant for everything poison. And poison is super good in this game. Unlike Dark Souls 1 and 3, poison is purple. Poison is green in Dark Souls 2. I'm going... Yeah, like it's hard to say because he's lonesome, so why would he be lonesome? My thought is that the rest of the Gurm are hollowed out, just doing what they last were thinking of doing. But the Gurm are so underdeveloped, and Gavlan is so underdeveloped, it's really hard to say one way or another. So I'm going to take a couple of, I don't know, maybe poison knives, 5 of these. Nah. I always feel bad for leaving Gavlan without... And this is a good shortcut, which allows you to go that way. You can drop down here. And you can drop down there. And then just dropping down pretty much allows you to kick this down. And the level's done, pretty much. Hit the wrong button. I wanted to hit the L1 for the backstab. The Grim are super underdeveloped, so, like, I don't... I wonder if this game started off as more of a Kingsfield game than like Demon Souls, and they decided to make it Dark Souls 2 instead. Because Dark 1 and 3 don't really have other races so much. Ah, dang it. Yeah. So that's a Dark Dweller. I didn't have fire, so he was like, nah. But it doesn't matter, because the main shortcut is active. If anybody wants to get summoned in, I'm right here. Yell if you want to get summoned in, but I don't think many of you do have SotFS on PS4. So I'm just going to take a short jog. Ah. Well, now I won't aggro them. Freaking spooky lead spiders. More rip the effigy anyway. So let's go talk to Carhillion. He's the main reason I even came here so early. Hi. Carhillion. Archers. I'm busy.
sense power. Very well. From this day, you shall be my new pupil. I am Carhillion of the Fold. Surely you've heard the name. Now, do not be afraid. Let us explore the limits of sorcery.
Rude. Oh, I need that. Yeah, he's definitely hollow at the end of DS1.
The forces of it is a fitting place to own my sorceries. I suspect that I may even conjure up new spells here. Sorcery is yet a mystery even to me. Let us mature together, young pupil. Use scrolls to unleash the power of sorceries. But the power of each scroll is reliant on that of its owner. The untrained cannot wield a scroll to its proper potential. Never forget, young pupil, there are no shortcuts to mastery. The forces of magic and souls, it is fitting, I suspect, sorcery.
Okay, that's a repeat.
Young pupil, do not take my teachings lightly.
Not a problem, Hunter. And it's nice to see you. I gotta change my equipment array again. Just picking up Carhillion.
Back already. You scroll, but the untrained never forget. One day might.
Alright, whatever. The biggest thing I picked up was the clear bluestone ring. The real curse is being alive. Rude. I just wanted to try out my new thing. That's what you get for being rude. So rude. So, like, this looks like a pueblo, but it's also super underground. It's like in the midst of a cave that has only like arisen because of its place near the ocean. However, it's really hard to say how they got to the outside world other than like waterway, because the bonfire you use for this place is hidden path to Heide, and like somebody had to dig a big hole into the last Heide building to get through land. So these guys were pretty much all water all the time. And their Copse say the coastline stretches far in northern Drang Lake. Beyond this northern sea is an unexplored continent, said to be the home of things inhuman. Yeah. No reason to go up here. These ships seem to be taking exiles over to the Lost Bastille. So we'll be fighting somebody we'll be seeing a lot more of. I wasn't expecting that reach. As the fight moves on, the water gets higher. I think it's flagged to HP, not so much time. Take a safety heal. Yeah, it fills after like a minute and a half or something. Like it gets to like the waist, I think. And then it just kind of stops. Hey, look at all those jerks over there. They're like, oh, I guess that's it then. I'm just gonna stare. And the other one just is like, I gotta ship the pilot, and turns around. This is also one of the first fights you can use Lucatiel in. I don't really like summoning NPCs because I don't like babysitting them, but when we get there, I'll just pull out my platinum character so that we can read some things that you only get from the quest line. So we examine this thing. It's there's a name, there's a sex, I think it's a sextant, but I think there's a better name for it. Magic is how a ship that has taken on that much water can still sail. Jumping required ahead. Ha! Yeah. I think it would have been a little bit weirder and probably cooler if the ship was like half sunk, Titanic style. But apparently it wasn't so much fishing that the wannabe Vikings dealt with. They dealt with bringing exiles to the Lost Bastille, which we've seen looming in the distance ever since Heide's, maybe? I think you can see it from Majula, but I'm not sure. Wow, there's a lot of messages here today. The heck? So all these jerks are asleep because they're really good at their jobs. You guys are great at your jobs. And here's your load screen. Alright, we did pick up a couple of things, didn't we? We picked up Fireball. Standard spell for pyromancers. Creates a fireball that is hurled at foes. To use pyromancies, equip a pyromancy flame to serve as the catalyst, and assign a pyromancy to an attunement slot. The power of a pyromancy is directly affected by the quality of the catalyst. And you picked that up from that chest right next to the sextant. It's a hint as to what kind of people are here. Basically pyromancers. We also picked up Emit force. Throughout history, there have been many examples of imitative miracles. When discovering original form, imitator is nigh on impossible, which is why it hardly matters. And there's a lot of that in this game. Imitators don't matter because they're just as good. And that seems to be a theme with Dark Souls 2. Imitation happens. But who cares if it's an imitator, because eventually no one's going to have a frame of reference for the real thing anyway. So imitation becomes the real thing. And maybe that's why it's so wildly different from everything else. Because it's sort of a meta commentary on imitation. And that is Sinner's Rise. Yeah, this is Sinner's Rise. We don't go all the way up there. We pretty much go as far as maybe the first third, and then we go straight down. There's a lot more loot at No Man's Wharf, but No Man's Wharf is a pain in the butt. So we'll get there when we can bully everything. So that's Sinner's Rise, and then just looking for stars, because I know Tangerine wanted to know about stars. try horse. Everybody's so rude here. Can I hit you from here? No. Sure thing. Oh, I should probably go back to Majula with all those souls. Do some level ups, some buys. I do need to buy a bunch more gems anyway. Yeah, like the whole imitation stuff happens a lot in Dark Souls 2. Monestary Charm mentions it. What we picked up mentions it. Dragonrider Castle is like in the midst of a lightning thunderstorm.
Seek souls. Large hope, seek the restless lands.
Gosh, Dragonrider Castle is so cool. Yeah, I want to... Yes. His magic is blue. $33, $16, and $23. Okay. Carhillion here? I think Carhillion is here. Yeah. Let's pop some... Take a look at the souls we picked up. Last Giant, Pursuer, Dragonrider. Soul of a Dragonrider who faithfully served King Vendrick. Long ago, the Dragonriders mounted white worms and were feared on the battlefield for their unparalleled strength. Use a Dragonrider soul to acquire numerous souls or to create something of great worth. The Flexile Sentry is a merciless creature whose purpose is to punish the undead. Use the special soul of the Flexile Sentry to acquire numerous souls or to create something of great worth. And one thing I just remembered, on the theme of imitation being pretty much as good as you're going to get a lot of the time, because of when you lose the frame of reference historically, then imitations might as well be the real thing. One big point in that theme is the ancient dragon. It's an imitation, but it might as well be the right thing because it'll still squish you. I think that's like the unique theme of DS2. Now let's pop some souls and go shopping. Yeah, like the whole idea of what sin is so cool. Alright, let's go see what's for sale. So this is Maughlin. Maughlin doesn't really have a whole lot of really cool stuff at the beginning of the game. He has basically starter level stuff. But if you do buy his stuff, he will get better stuff, and he will eventually get boss armor. And yeah, once he gets his confidence, his sin pretty much manifests. And again, it's greed. And he comes from Volgen, which, if we remember from our readings, Volgen is a place full of grasping, greedy individuals with a very fair few of people who are actually sincere in their faith. For most other people in Volgen, faith is just a vehicle to power. And he starts out with you thinking he's one of those sincere individuals who left Volgen. He also tells us that the Blue Sentinels also gained power in Volgen. And the Blue Sentinels basically became Yakuza. I usually kind of leave them alone because at the beginning of the game I kind of need my souls for other stuff. Like rings from the cat. This is why I kind of ignore him for a while. But he gets major boss armors. Anything I need here? Detected by enemies. Whispers of foes, I'll need that, but not right now. It'll be nice, but probably not right now. She also carries Alluring Skulls. I just have this mental image of Shalquar pushing a skull around like a cat would play with yarn. She also carries Prism Stones and Homeward Bones. And Lloyd's Talismans. This basically has the same as Dark Souls 1's thing. Let's see here. Anything else to buy? Yeah, whatever. I'm back. I'm gonna go throw souls at Carhillion and then buy some life gems and then go right back. This I have, don't have. Shockwave. Magic Weapon, Urine. Magic Weapon is my go-to spell for most of my melee characters. Like, I'll get 10 intelligence just to use Magic Weapon for the extra buff. And it works really well in Dark Souls 2 because even infused weapons can be buffed, unlike in Dark Souls 3. So Ollie will pick this up and spend the rest on life gems. Oh. Are you going to give me the Silver Serpentis ring yet? Yes. Thank you. Thanks. When we load in, I will... I think I'm gonna mess with the Pursuer. It's like, Messing with Sasquatch commercials. So let me throw this over here. Throw this over there. Again, let me know if you want to be summoned. You can definitely do that. Well, don't you feel dumb? Yeah, I suspect most people will have it on their PC. So the dogs have been eating people, probably. They've got souls of a nameless soldier. If you go up here, you'll pretty much get out. But if you come this way, there's a treasure, but it's a super item gank. Because you can hear the audio cue start up. And so see, he's really pissed off now. Ugh. Now he's got, he's totally engulfed by the abyss now. So he's got a pursuers, or affinity as they like to call it in later Dark Souls games. That was my fault for aggroing the, that guy. You're actually not supposed to be able to come this way, but they left it in. So he's really pissed off now that you have his soul. Ah, that was a mistime. was watching the wrong group. Oh, you're right. That's why I killed the dogs first. Doggos! Doggos, please. Please, doggo. But yeah, he's really pissed off that you have his soul, and without his soul, he got yoinked right into the abyss. Do I have fire bombs? Yes. Now that we have a fragrant branch of yore, I can do something else soon too. Every time you beat him, you get some Twinkling Titanite. You'd think I'd have no ADP. I've got 20 levels. Not the only time you mess with Sasquatch in the Lost Bastille. He is super pissed. He like shows up 3 or 4 times in the Lost Bastille. In Scholar, I think it's different in Vanilla. Out of here, mummy. A forlorn can invade here. And that's your first cold pine resin? at least for Hunter M, and there's the Forlorn, because jerk. Forlorn spawns up there. High magic resist. You know, Forlorn, I was busy doing something. Run away! Do I still have Firebomb? Dang it, I threw that the wrong direction. So the Forlorn have a lot of, Forlorn are new for SotFS, but they have a bunch of spawn points, and whether they spawn in or not is kind of random. They're cooler Dark Wraiths. IMO. And here's your puzzle for the Lost Bastille. So you've noticed that some of these barrels explode. So here it goes, and there's a big crack right there. So the reward for killing Forlorn, for killing 5 of them, you get their entire armor set, plus their sword and a scythe. So, this is your reward for finding this area. Nice little bonfire, cozy. And not a bonfire to like make things easier for you, just a bonfire to make it easier for you to get to this guy. It's a bit nuts. Titanite shards. Some large. Heavy bolts. And he's standing in front of the last one. You can't really get that until you fix what his problem is. So let's talk to him first. He's actually not speaking to us. I find it interesting that his apron looks like a snake. So there's another thing. Salden said that you smelled. And Macduff, because he just spoke to us and gave us his name, says we also smell like flame. Ashen ones also smell, but no one actually said that they smelled like flame at all. I've got a bird on my shoulder. So this is Steady Hand Macduff. He will infuse your weapon, and infusions are pretty good in this game. Borderline broken, which is probably why they changed it a little bit in 3. You can buy the following. You can buy Bastard Swords, you can buy the Uchi, Great Axe, Winged Spear, Scythe, a longbow, a light crossbow, and the Royal Kite Shield. You can buy arrows, and you can buy repair powder and large titanite, which is pretty useful. I'm going to reinforce my sorcerer staff. So, what's his real dealio? There's a lot of little torches you can light all over the place. So now he's got some flame over here, and he can wander back there at his leisure. So now that you've reloaded the area, he's actually at his anvil. So he's your advanced blacksmith, as you might know already. Hammer and twinkling. He's got the wooden shield right there. Little small shields all over the place. Craftsman hammer. Yeah. If you kill the pursuer and take the bird Uber, it's right in front of you when they drop you off. They don't hide it they don't hide it at all. It's just right in front of you. Craftsman hammer. Looks like a typical hammer, but is in fact incredibly sturdy. Some say it was the hammer used long ago by a famed blacksmith of yore. Yeah, it's... When the bird drops you off, there's now 2... Actually, I'll just show you. Other things Scholar changes from vanilla in the Lost Bastille is the Belfry gargoyles are no longer mandatory. The key is elsewhere. So when the bird drops you off, when you take the Uber after the pursuer, the dull ember will be in one of these right here. Ugh. I hit the wrong one. I forget that this is actually the last bonfire and, like, not a critical path bonfire. Yeah, like if you want to get to the Ember and Macduff really early, you have to beat Pursuer. Isn't... Oh, it's on the other side. Never mind. This never opens. But it's your clue that there is somebody here. Alright, let's go to the main bonfire then. Which is the Exile Holding Cells. So we're nearing the end of the session. These guys are rude. Rude. Alright, so, besides all the other stuff in there, the Pursuer will show up as soon as I drop down again. So I don't expect to live through this, but... There he is, right on cue. And I just despawned him. Oof. Doggos, please! You're so annoying, doggos. I love the doggos. Dark Souls wouldn't be Dark Souls without the doggos. Heavy soul arrow. Really? Pool noodles. And if you angle your camera, you can see the other bonfire, which is Study Him Macduff's. Hi. Trying to get behind him. Ugh. Only that. You guys see that missed backstab? Trying to make him fall. Get out of here. With a dinky dagger, no less. +0. Oh yeah. That critical damage. McDuff, save me, please. Shit. Shoot. Damn it. Lorethroughs are just kind of playthroughs where we sit and chat about the lore. Analyze it, describe it, talk about it. So it's just kind of a let's play, but more geared towards understanding what the and analyzing what the lore is talking about. You know, overanalyzing things. That's what we do. You're welcome to stay and chat, ask questions, you know, all that cool stuff. There. Dang it! Lock on switch targets immediate on me. Pool noodles with teeth. Those poor doggos. All they need is for the pursuer to pet them every once in a while. I'm just gonna overkill these doggos. Trying to conserve some spells, but I guess not. I want to get the Estus Flask shard. Doggos, doggo doggos. Pursuer! Whoa! The hell, Pursuer? Where the hell did you learn that? Go away, though. Thank you. It's not like you have the Moonlight Greatsword or anything. Yeah, the homing Curse Blast. Things I forget are a thing, because I'm usually in melee with him. He missed, though, so there's that. Alright, there is something I need to buy. I need to buy a fragrant branch of yore. And I think I will end this episode, this session, with saving a person. Because we're more or less finished with the Lost Bastille. We just have to beat the boss, really. And I have 2 fragrant branches of yore now. Yeah. And we will meet our next NPC of many in just a second. Side note, his voice actor is the same voice actor as Ariandel. This has been Heart of Jugo. I remember when I mentioned that imitations are a big theme in Dark Souls 2. That's an imitation. That is not the real Moonlight Greatsword. That is an imitation. Imitations are a big theme in Dark Souls 2. It's imitating the first cycle. It's imitating the actions and events of the first cycle that we went through in Dark Souls 1. There's new gods imitating the old gods. There's Moonlight Greatswords imitating the real ones. There's dragons who aren't really dragons, but they're imitating dragons. You know, stuff like that. He means that statue down there. Yeah. Thanks, Benhart. You're a bro. That homeward bone is a big clue. If you want to be exactly sure that you get this done. And she is completely petrified. This is Rosabeth. You're gonna be filling that tomorrow. Here you go, Border. We're kind of wrapping up, but it's nice to see you. It's always nice to see everybody.
I'm fine. I think.
We're meeting Rosabeth.
No. I'm fine.
I actually really like her dress.
My name is Rosabeth. Thank you so much for rescuing me.
If you listen really closely, you can hear why she got petrified.
Oh, you're that traveler. I still haven't thanked you. Well, I'm quite a hand at pyromancy. So perhaps you could consider this my thanks.
Nothing in the text.
I was attacked and turned to stone.
Or they could be complete opposites of the same person. Like Rosabeth tells the truth. Elizabeth really
I feel shameful.
doesn't.
My name is Rags.
And it's interesting too, because like her,
As you've already saved my life,
she's wearing basically a princess's
just look at me.
dress, except it's completely in tatters.
Do you have any clothing that you could spare? I'll take anything.
So
You don't need. I'm not particular when it comes to apparel. Anything at all will do. Just
I have to go through her dialogue again.
and I'll change into it later.
Because she seems really rich, or at least aristocratic, especially with the gems around her waist, and the little patches of really like brocade. Usually somewhere from 8 to 11 EDT. Since it's Sunday, I start a little early. But usually it's from like 8 to 11 EDT, Eastern Standard Time US. Let's give her some equipment. Let's give her that. I'll give her those because that's an extra. Give those for extra.
I have my very own teacher. His name is Carhillion of the Font.
We've already met Carhillion.
Our hometown. I was fascinated by sorcery. And so, well, he's so unique, you see. When he set out for Dragonrider, I couldn't let him go alone. But we were separated. Quite early on, I'm afraid. I'm rather unskilled, and the Lord probably ditched me. But, oddly, I'm a fast learner when it comes to pyromancy. What we're fascinated by, and we're skilled at, are not always the same thing.
Here's a crack theory about all that. What Rosabeth said. And it's kind of a funny thing on the surface level that she's
It's hardly my
like a savant when it comes to pyromancy, but she really wants to learn sorcery, but she's bad at it. On the surface, it's kind of funny, but here's a crack theory. What if she's a reincarnation and or an imitation of a daughter of chaos who's like naturally attuned to pyromancy, but kind of wants to recreate flame sorcery? That's a crack theory. How about that?
I have my very own. His name is Carhillion. I was fascinated when he set out.
Alright.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy for this gift. After I change into this, I'm heading for the tomb. I'm not sure where I might find the Lord.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find him very soon.
Perhaps the tunic's my best chance.
I think you're right. Can I have your dress?
I'm going back. I hope.
Alright, so, NPCs are really fragile in this game. So, you do not, once you give her clothes, you do not want to open this. Because if you listen really closely, it's a whole bunch of, basilisks. So what you want to do is just bone out. I do mostly 3 hours because I have to timestamp them on YouTube, and 3 hours is a bit where I stop. So then you want to sit at the bonfire to reset everything. And she'll be right there. She's wearing my starter outfit. She gets to be a sorcerer, at least in fashion. Happy endings for everybody. And now that she's free, we can talk to Benhart. Who is a super bro. Some fun things about what he's wearing. He's wearing the same thing that Creighton wears, which suggests Mira, but he's also wearing a hat that you see in the Forest of Fallen Giants on the statuary there, and he's got his Imitation Blue Moon Sword, which is actually, oddly, really powerful if you infuse it raw. But he makes it to the very end. There's nothing really there. That's it. Yep. And he's guarding some Lloyd's talismans. So there was definitely some hunting of undead in here. I'm just going to get to the next bonfire. So that closes one bit. And it unloads pretty much all of Majula. And abuse their leashing, because they have short leashes. I know. Now on the other side, should be another Estus Flask shard. Yep. Which is your reward for getting past that, like, boss kind of encounter. Basilisks are really wacky looking. Their actual eyes are those small things. Needle-like teeth. Who wants some? Anybody? The big eyes up top are just to distract you. Much like Guinevere's character design, but you didn't hear that from me. Alright, back to Majula, and then we're gonna sign off. So, does anyone have any, observations, any questions about what we experienced, anything you wanted to talk about real quick before we called it an evening? Gonna buy some life gems while I'm at it. I still have a bird on my shoulder. Yeah, that was probably Carhillion. It was probably this guy over here. He's basically your mage vendor. Your magic vendor. Poor ego border. You must have caught this caught hell for that. It's actually a lot easier to mistake Gavlan for an enemy too. Because he looks a lot like it. Yeah, Carhillion, he's your magic vendor. It's probably not that big a deal if you're not gonna magic at all. But he's got magic weapon, which is essential for all of my melee builds. Nice. Gavlan is such a good vendor. Mostly because poison is so good in this game. Me and my bird, I think I need to name the bird, are all set though. So if you guys have nothing else to talk about or any other questions, themes of imitations being just as good or accepted as the real thing have started to make themselves manifest in Dark Souls 2's narrative, and that's pretty neat. But if no one has anything, then we need to do an emote. Pumped up. Alright. So, thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you either here, the Discord, or Twitter. Feel free to join, and good night, guys.